Welcome to today's news wrap up. Let's dive right into the top stories making headlines today. An undercover video by Project Veritas revealed that the U.S. Department of Education is operating a secret sanctuary program for illegal aliens and hiding its activities from oversight by using the encrypted app Signal. Travis Combs, a branch chief within the department, admitted that the agency doesn't ask about citizenship status during enrollment, which is not included in federal statutes. Combs expressed concern that Congress would be outraged if they discovered this practice. The department's employees communicate via Signal to evade oversight, discussing matters offline despite being discouraged from doing so. Discouraged? It's outright against regulation to do these things, because everything the government supposed to be monitored and reported and recorded so that we can go back and look at these things. So just by virtue of them using Signal should be cause for them to be fired. But we'll see what the outcome of this will be. Federal Trade Commission Chairman Andrew Ferguson has announced an investigation into big tech censorship. He urges Americans who have experienced censorship, such as banning or shadow banning, to submit reports by May 21st, 2025. I'm definitely going to be submitting my report because I had a whole channel deleted because of the so-called, they said I was misinforming people when it came to COVID, but I was actually reporting on studies and stuff, which has been verified as of today. Appointed by President Trump, Ferguson emphasizes that big tech's actions are potentially illegal and harmful to competition and free speech. The FTC's public inquiry aims to understand how tech firms may have violated the law by limiting users' access based on their speech or affiliations. The investigation seeks to hold these companies accountable and restore free speech, and I'm all for it. Kash Patel has been confirmed as the FBI director in a 51-49 Senate vote. Phew, I was kind of worried. I didn't know if he was going to make it or not, but I'm super excited about this. The nomination faced opposition from some Democrats and a few Republicans, including, the Senator Murkowski and Collins, the usual suspects, who voted against it. Despite the controversy surrounding his role in exposing the Russiagate hoax, Patel received support from key figures, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, which is very shocking to me. In his acceptance statement, Patel emphasized his commitment to transparency, accountability, and rebuilding public trust in the FBI. He pledged to support good cops and ensure the Bureau remains focused on safeguarding Americans. Vice President J.D. Vance delivered an encouraging message to young men at CPAC, urging them not to feel guilty for being men due to societal pressures. Anyone that feels guilty for being a man, I feel sorry for you. But he criticized the feminist movement and the Democratic Party for labeling natural male behavior as toxic masculinity. Y'all know I've been talking about that for years. And I even seen it in some psychological papers, and the APA actually talked about toxic masculinity, which is just ridiculous on the face of it. That's why I stopped being a member of the APA, because of the whole toxic masculinity thing. Vance highlighted the Trump administration's efforts to promote traditional gender roles and emphasized the importance of respecting and appreciating both men and women. He encouraged young men to embrace their identity and assured them of support through public policy. A Boston University employee, Jared May, is under federal investigation for allegedly threatening members of the Department of Government Efficiency. May reportedly posted a social media message identifying 6 Doge members and labeling them as wanted for treason, dead or alive, leading to concerns about violations of federal law. Federal officials, including interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, Edward R. Martin Jr., and U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts, Leah B. Foley, have expressed serious concerns about the threat and are pursuing legal action. The case raises questions about the First Amendment protections and the potential consequences of May's employment at Boston University. You don't have a right to threaten someone. You know, when you say someone wanted dead or alive, that's a threat, and he should be held accountable. The days of leftists like him making these threats to people are over now that Trump is in office. More than 500 studies of COVID-19 have been retracted due to bias, unreliable information, or other reasons. Ivan Orinsky, co-founder of Retraction Watch, explained that the pressure on researchers to rapidly produce studies for job security and grants contributes to misconduct. COVID-19 related papers are more likely to be retracted quickly and without detailed explanations compared to non-COVID-19 papers. Orinsky highlighted the importance of transparency in the retraction process, noting that clear reasoning helps maintain the integrity of scientific records, and I agree. Retractions can correct potentially misleading information, but the process varies in its transparency, with some notices lacking detailed explanations. Belgian MEP Guy Verhofstadt labeled U.S. President Donald Trump as the greatest threat to NATO in an incendiary post. So that's why we need to stop giving money to NATO, because of idiots like him. But he accused Trump of being, quote, Putin's puppet and undermining the Atlantic alliance while spreading Kremlin propaganda by blaming Zelensky for the war with Russia. I mean, Zelensky had multiple chances to end the war in Russia, and he decided not to because of our so-called Western allies like Prime Minister Boris Johnson at the time. But the comments were in response to Trump's recent criticism of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, whom he called a dictator. And I agree, because he is not duly elected. He got rid of the elections last year. But Trump is pursuing a peace deal to end the war and has questioned the whereabouts of $350 billion in funds. We have no idea where that money went to. Verhofstadt's remarks raise concerns about Europe's response to what he sees as significant threat to NATO. Well, if we're such a threat, then that's why we're leaving NATO, and when you're no longer getting American taxpayer funds. Megachurch pastor Pastor T.D. Jakes, sorry about that, has denied allegations of sexual assault brought against him by two brothers, Dwayne and Richard Youngblood, claiming they are attempting to extort $6 million from him. Well, I don't know if the story is true or not, but when you hang out with people like P. Diddy, and you're supposed to be a pastor, and you're not there pastoring to them, you're there partying with them, then you were gonna have allegations like this. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have to say, my radar or gaydar definitely goes up when it comes to T.D. Jakes with some of his mannerisms and some of the things he says. But Jakes, who faces accusations from over 40 years ago, has filed a defamation lawsuit asserting he never harbored carnal desires for the brothers and labeling their claims as campaign of lies. The brothers' lawsuits detail separate incidents involving Jakes, with Richard alleging an assault during a shared hotel room stay and Dwayne describing an encounter at an elderly woman's home. Despite these allegations, Jakes maintains his innocence and criticizes the brothers for their actions, emphasizing the emotional toll on his family. Again, this is what happens when you hang out with people like P. Diddy. A senior Biden administration official, Jahi Wise, who previously directed former President Joe Biden's $27 billion climate grant program, oversaw a $5 billion grant to his former employer, the Coalition for Green Capital. This is all a scam. It's all a gimmick. Concerns about ethics and conflicts of interest have arisen as Wise did not recuse himself from the process. Most people would have recused themselves. I know people that I've worked with personally when I've worked for the county and things like that, will recuse themselves from any appearance of a conflict of interest. But the EPA's grant to the Coalition for Green Capital was criticized for potential waste and abuse. Wise later joined, of course, George Soros' nonprofit, the Open Society Institute, further raising questions about the revolving door between government and private organizations. The situation has led to calls for better oversight and accountability in the grant distribution process. I mean, Democrats made out big under Joe Biden. They made a lot of money through these programs. Democratic Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett struggled to understand the concept of the federal government distributing dividends to Americans as compensation for wasted taxpayer money. This is money that would have been spent anyway. Why wouldn't you want to give it back to the people? But of course, Democrats so bad want to be anti-Trump, they go against anything that Trump does, even if it benefits the people that they say they're trying to help. When President Trump proposed giving every taxpayer a $5,000 check for savings achieved through the Department of Government Efficiency, Crockett expressed skepticism about the benefits of a $5,000 check, and it highlighted the previous COVID-19 relief funds provided by a Democratic Congress. But that is two separately different things. This is money that was allocated that was going to be spent anyway, but we found out it was waste. So this is money that was already allocated anyway. It's not like the COVID thing, which was money we had to print money out of thin air. So she's totally wrong on this. But despite her doubts, Doge reported substantial savings from cutting federal spending and layoffs. The idea aims to return a portion of the savings to taxpayers, countering decades of federal spending inefficiencies. Lastly, Ukrainian President Zelensky has banned the social media platform Truth Social after criticism from President Trump. Reports on X suggest that Truth Social is now unavailable in Ukraine, although major publications have not confirmed this. Some speculate it makes sense for Zelensky to block the platform, given Trump's recent attacks on him. When Trump called him a dictator, which y'all know I agree with. But that's all for today's news wrap up. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.